Professional Weapon Class by Grant No, as read by Tywin the Vile. The views expressed in this video are those of Infinity Blade Master Grant No, and do not necessarily reflect the views of me, Tywin the Vile. That being said, please enjoy the video, and hope it will shed some light on what class you should use and some of the advantages and disadvantages of each. To begin, I need to address what it means to have a professional weapon class. Weapon classes fall under two primary criticisms. One, that they are easy to use, so not for the pros who challenge themselves, and two, that they are not as effective in battle, so it is not the pro's choice for success. Upon closer examination of these two criteria, you may come to the conclusion that they are entirely incompatible. If you have the class that is the hardest to use, how can it be effective and practical in battle? If you have the most effective weapon, wouldn't that also make it the easiest? The answer is no. You can have the best weapon in the world, but if you can't work the trigger, it won't do you any good. In this case, the first argument about ease of use must relate to the learning curve. I am sure that, like me, once you have played with one class for over 2,000 levels, you are bound to master it. It may be difficult to reach that point of mastery, but once you are there, the fights with that weapon class are simple and effective. Were you then to spontaneously switch to another class, you would of course consider it junk. That being said, I need to attempt to approach this argument with the most objective mind possible. How I am going to do it, for the sake of fairness, is address both ease of learning and practicality for the three weapon classes in the context of two different SATs. SATs, or SATs, as I'm going to call them, are stat allocation trends, and the two that I will be covering are primary health and primary attack. When I say primary, I mean that the scenarios permit some allocation in other areas, such as shield or magic, but that the focus is in that slot. So first, let's cover the health SAT. If you're the type of person that likes to dish out hits as well as take a few, then the health SAT analysis is for you. First, we'll start with the light class. Here, light will come under some criticism for being too easy to use because you can utilize both the dodge and the shield to your advantage, the perfect combination of which will make battles pretty simple and not force you to learn too many of an enemy's moves. If you don't know a move, you can block it, and if you end up taking some damage, you have that additional health as a cushion. Light class will also be criticized here because of the lack of practical power to it. At this point, it seems pretty outclassed by the faster dual and the stronger heavy. Speaking of heavy class, let's take a look at the heavy class. With a good health cushion, heavy will come under some criticism for being too easy for basically the same reasons as light. On the other hand, the heavy class would be praised in the health SAT for its practicality in battle at the early stages of a player's Infinity Blade 2 career. Heavy is the best option for the raw power of the attacks. Just as a fun fact, back when I began my Infinity Blade 2 career, I couldn't beat the God King with dual or light, but I clunked him out of the park with heavy, leaving me though with a nearly empty health bar. Lastly, for the health SAT is dual. In the health SAT, dual is really the only class to be praised for the lack of ease of use in terms of a learning curve. Because there is not a shield and most players are accustomed to one, you can find yourself quite defenseless against attackers, especially if you're not familiar with their attacks. However, dual comes under fire in the health SAT because of its lack of practicality. If you are in the early stages of your career, you likely don't know combos, and your weapon's attack power makes up the majority of your attack stats. This situation pits itself against dual, and you look to classes like heavy to spice up your success rate. So now let's take a look at the attack SAT. First up, the light class. Once again, the ease of use is stunning. You can still get by just fine as long as you have some stats lined up in the shield. Yet again, the lack of power is also very stunning. The battles are all so long due to the slow and ineffective combos. Next is heavy. With an attack SAT, heavy gets lots of praise when it comes to the difficulty of use. Without proper points stored in shield, your in-game character will be short-lived. In fact, even if you have stats in shield, why Excuse me. So even if you have stats and shield, you can take elemental damage that will quickly finish you off unless you are an expert at perfect blocks, or perhaps have a spectrum defense gem, or you can equip your shield with the elemental defense that you need for that battle. In an attack stat, for me personally, I am absolutely terrible at heavy, and for that reason it has earned my respect. However, the practicality in battle is not good, since you are having to constantly worry about your block quality, unless you're meaning Tywin the Vile, and having points and shield in the first place. And since the combos are not particularly effective unless you use the wrapping glitch, like me, Tywin the Vile, you will have a rough time winning battles. Last will come to Duel. With an all-attack stat, Duel is very much criticized for the ease of use. Once you have passed the learning curve for Duel, you will quickly find out how efficient the class is at winning battles, which is why Duel is also praised. By far, it is the most effective class in an attack stat. So, here are my final conclusions for those of you who slept through the rest of the mumbo jumbo. If you're looking for an easy fight from the time that you pick up the game till the time it leaves your iDevice, then Light is probably the class for you. You won't find that it's ever as effective as the other two classes for winning fights, but it certainly is the way to play it safe. If you want the most challenging fights possible because you're a hardcore player like that, then pick up Heavy on an attack stat, like me, Tywin the Vile. If you want the most difficult learning curve possible, though, pick up Duel and memorize all the step backs of every Titan. If you want the easiest fight of your life, try fighting the Archivist on an all-attack stat with Duel class. So, what is professional? Is it the one who chooses a hardcore fight or an efficient one? Is it a battle hardcore, or is it just the journey to the victory of that battle hardcore? I don't know. But which class is the pro choice? The answer is simple. Just not the light class. That's all, folks. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Check out my channel, Tywin the Vile. Check out Grant No's channel on YouTube as well. Grant No, he has some cool 5-1 videos. And come back and check out the Infinity Blade Masters every week for our awesome videos. We hope you keep enjoying them and keep coming back. Until next time, this is Tywin.